Joining us this morning, Titania Jordan.
Tatiana Jordan. Did I get the name right? Jordan?
Titania.
Titania. Okay. All right.
It's Titania Jordan.
We are here at SalesLoft with Kyle Porter, CEO and founder of this amazing company right here in the heart of Atlanta. Thank you so much for being here.
It's an honor. Thank you for being here.
And I just have to say, from a style game point of view, your belt and your shoes are on point. Custom Vans with the SalesLoft logo, y'all. We'll talk about that after.
We're going to get them on camera.
Yeah.
Okay. These are a shout out to the team. Greg Klingshirn designed these shoes. Really grateful. And they have umbrellas, hearts, and SalesLoft logos.
I love it. And that is kind of a kick back to the culture that you and your amazing team have fostered here.
Thank you.
I heard that that the SalesLoft team is kind of known as the cool young kids with jeans in the building, right?
I once got on an elevator and I had my electric skateboard. And the guy, some guy in a suit got on and he looks at me and he looks at the skateboard and he goes, you know, you ride that in the office? And I go, yeah, you want to try? And he goes, no. He goes, does everyone have one of those at your company? And the elevator door opened, and as I hopped off, I go, no, silly, everyone has two of them. And the door shut, and I walked off.
See, that's a mic drop moment. I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of these while the cameras are rolling. Kyle Porter, you are truly an inspiration to the city of Atlanta, to the SaaS world. Tell everybody, you know, because they should know, but just in case we have some viewers that don't know, what is SalesLoft? Why is it amazing?
Well, thank you for the compliment. We have an amazing team here, and we're serving a big market need in and around the businesses go to market, the way they go to sell to their customers. And there's so much pains in communicating with your customers and prospects, and the way buying has changed is now buyers are so much more informed, they're more educated, they've got a lot of power. And sellers have, you know, they've gone the wrong direction in a lot of ways of just overwhelming the buyer with phone calls, emails, voicemails, LinkedIn, social messages, all kinds of things. And the buyer is really demanding a better experience from their seller. They still have problems to solve. Their challenges are evolving, and these solutions aren't simple and, you know, just you can't just plug them in and press play for enterprises. So they're really yearning for a salesperson to rise above all the noise, deliver them with the best experience. But that experience is difficult to deliver because you have phone in one system, you've got email in another, everything's disjointed, nothing's orchestrating or coordinating everything. And so SalesLoft is a way that companies come in and they take their go-to-market and they codify it into one place. And it knows their target accounts, it knows their salespeople, all the different roles, all the personas, all the messaging, and then it just allows them to execute it, deploys to each and every rep, and they get a list of here's all the things I need to do today, phone calls, emails, social touch points, send a box of donuts or flowers to your customer or prospect, and they execute on all those steps. We see all the results, all the activities, use a bunch of data to improve it and say here's a better suggestion of a way to approach it, here's a better process, here's a next best action. And it's the ultimate sales go-to-market software.
That's awesome. And when did you launch?
Well, we started the company in late 2011, and this product didn't launch until January 2015. So we had a long journey up to that point.
It's okay.
But we had a different product actually before that. But this one's been around since the beginning of 2015, and it's grown pretty rapidly since then.
I would say so. You're being humble. SalesLoft is a really big deal. You now have close to 254 employees.
Close to, exactly.
Yeah, it's growing, right? It's growing, so you're probably hiring somebody right now as we film.
That's going on, yes.
Yeah, it's so great what you're doing for our economy, both you know, just employing people, diversity inclusion initiatives, and making the tech scene in Atlanta just so vibrant. When did you know that you were onto something? 2015, you know, you deploy SalesLoft. Tell me about a case study that you were like, we are so onto something.
There's a really neat company called MuleSoft, and MuleSoft was just acquired by Salesforce for over $6 billion.
Oh.
And they came to our conference in 2015 with a small group of salespeople, and they purchased SalesLoft to power their sales organization. And I got to watch them grow and just accelerate to the point where they had advertisements in the BART in San Francisco for hiring salespeople. They were hiring so many salespeople. And a new salesperson would come on and they'd click a button and roll SalesLoft out to them. And it would be onboarding in the box for the customers they were going after, the way that they were communicating. And it started to make sense that this is really a big thing that's really helping out. And we helped power them through their IPO. They went public, and that was so exciting. And then, a year and a half later, they sold to Salesforce. And so we're still serving the company, and it's just so exciting. But I think that was a really neat experience that showed me that this is an important problem that we're solving, and lots of people have these challenges.
That's amazing. And I feel like sales is kind of in your blood. I heard that you may have had a little pin business around the Olympics.
In 1996, I was 14 years old, and this by no means was the first thing that I ever sold. There's a picture of me, and I must be 5 or 6, and I've got one of those like country and western shirts on with a bolo tie.
Solid.
But I have a briefcase in my hand, and in there is G.I. Joes that I'm selling to kids in the neighborhood. And I don't know if I had Monopoly money or real money, but I switched from Monopoly money to real money somewhere around that age. And I sold Beanie Babies, baseball cards, comic books, old beer cans, and all these things. But then in the Olympics, 1996, I hopped on my bike and rode 3 miles to a Walmart and just bought every Olympic pin that I could afford. And they bought them out, and then would get down to Centennial Park and sell them. And it was just so exciting because you'd have this German couple, that had showed up in Atlanta, and all they wanted was the varsity rings, pin or whatever that I had traded up to get, and their eyes would light up, and they were going to take it home to their family. And then I started taking the pins and assembling them on a felt and framing them and selling them. So that was kind of cool. We put like a little plaque in the middle that had the Olympics, and so it was a ton of fun. But it was just the look on someone's eyes when you bring them something that they needed or wanted or couldn't get on their own, and that's what sales is all about, is delivering happiness and value.
You nailed that. I mean, I think you've done this before. This is good. I am so excited to be able to have this time with you. I know a lot of people want to pick your brain or take you out for coffee and just get a piece of what is happening here. And since you can't meet with every single person all the time, what is a key piece of leadership or sales advice that really helped you that you can maybe now help share with our audience?
Oh, there's a ton. Before I started SalesLoft, I had kind of some major life transformations. I was, I was kind of a aimless kid through high school and college. I liked to party and have fun, but I didn't really have big ambitions. I was always looking for Friday versus like 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
Been there, done that.
And I graduated from Georgia Tech, and through my experience at Tech, I had a really big change in my life where I realized that kind of wasn't about me, and that I was given lots of talents and skills. And in fact, everyone was given unique talents and skills. And I realized that I had a charter to use those to serve others. And so I started this small entrepreneurship group, and we kind of were like more entrepreneurs at the time. But I would assemble this group of people, and it was like 6 to 10 people inside of ATDC, after school at Georgia Tech. And I remember I would read books to try to learn about entrepreneurship, and then do a little PowerPoint, and then share what I had learned. And that's how these things worked. And we'd just hang out and talk about starting businesses. And I remember looking out, I remember this moment where I looked at the table, and there were 7 or 8 people there. And this whole concept of how I had realized that I had these talents and skills and wanted to use them to serve others, I started to recognize the talents and skills in each person at the table. And I just felt compelled to create an environment where they could shine and take those talents and skills and use them to serve others, to accomplish more, to achieve their goals, to learn, to do, to become what they wanted to become. And then through mentors and other folks, Charlie Paparelli,
Yes.
Rusty Gordon, some of these guys in Atlanta that have run great companies, I realized that starting a business would be the vehicle that allowed me to make that change. And so it was 2005. My wife and I had been to a conference together where this speaker had advised that we write down a bucket list of all the things we want to accomplish. And so like number 2 on the list was start a company in Atlanta technology that has 50 people. That's it. And it was 2005. And so we started SalesLoft in 2011, which was years and years later. But along the journey, I had the opportunity to meet so many entrepreneurs in the city. And there were 2 that really stood out to me. One was David Cummings, and the other was a guy named Charles Brewer. Charles Brewer was the founder of MindSpring and later the chairman and CEO of Earthlink, and David, founder and CEO of Pardot, Atlanta Tech Village, and now Atlanta Ventures. And both of them said something, they had it in their own unique way, but it was about values and purpose and culture. and how that was the center of everything for the businesses they had started. And how it wasn't about the product, the market, the economy, all these things that can shift and change on you without any control, right? Whatever happens in the government, I can't change that, right? But what I can do is I have control over what's the purpose of this business? What is our mission? How are we going to behave? And what values are we going to have? And when I learned that from them, and now ironically, I heard it from them, failed completely, ran it into the ground, had to learn it a few other times, and then just started to inject that into the business. But one of the quotes was that as a founder, as an entrepreneur, corporate culture is the thing that we have the most control over. And so that was a huge one. And then personally, there's one quote that I don't even remember where I first heard it, but it's really been a mantra for me, is that I want to learn faster than the rate of my own experience. And so I spend a lot of time thinking about that.
That's so compelling and powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I do a lot of speaking engagements and try to pour into women especially that are trying to pave the same path. And that is by far one of the things I share far and wide, is that everybody is here for a reason. Everybody has unique talents and gifts that are unique to them. And if you tap into those, that's where you'll shine, and that's where you'll fulfill your calling, right?
That's awesome, yes.
And we're only here for a blink of an eye, so you really need to maximize that time. And yeah, I kind of kick myself for the time I wasted in my youth, a little bit aimless.
Of course.
But I'm making up for it now.
There you go.
And this is part of it.
I believe that those talents and skills, I didn't earn those on my own, that those were gifted to me.
Amen.
And that they were gifted to all of us,
Yeah.
right? And kind of with that gift comes a little bit of a charter to use it for a greater purpose.
Absolutely. That's the thing, is whenever I receive a compliment for something myself or my team has achieved, yes, we worked hard, but it's because we have been gifted with the right time, the right opportunity, and the right talents. It's not, for me personally, it's not because of me, it's by the grace of God. And I'm just so thankful to be able to continue to be a vehicle for that. And whatever you subscribe to, whatever belief system you are a part of, that's just my personal story.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I remember a moment it was years ago that I got a call, and it was an acquisition offer for SalesLoft. And it was very early. It was the first time this ever happened. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, these people want to buy this company. They could buy this company, and then I could just go start another one. And that's what went through my head. And it was like 20 minutes later, I'm like, I couldn't start another one of these. Like, this has been magical, It's like, this wasn't just me like sitting down and like creating a company. It was like all these forces of nature happened to create this thing. And I remember thinking, like, why would I ever leave this? Because this is a once in a lifetime thing, And so that was a kind of a neat revelation to have happen. But it's kind of along those same lines. It's not about like, you can't just go out and do it again,
It's very unique. It speaks to what we felt when we first walked in today, and the people that we know and love here. As a mom, I have a 9-year-old, and used to live in more of a corporate environment. Now I'm in the startup space, in the media space, and it's awesome. But I did not have the opportunity to really embrace both my career and my motherhood when Jackson was born. And you guys have just rolled out something awesome. Can you talk about your maternity-paternity policy?
Yeah, sure. So this was led by our Chief People Officer, Christine, who's fantastic, and in concert with our executive leadership team and feedback from the whole organization. In fact, I got to the point where it was like, here for approval, and I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm biased to approve your decisions here, And it's really cool. So I think so the way the policies work is, you have short-term disability that covers the first
6 weeks.
6 weeks,
yeah.
exactly. And then, but it only covers a percent. So we fill that percentage in, so you're getting fully paid on the first 6 weeks. And then we're adding another 6 weeks of all fully paid. So we're adding that in. And then for a parent, a male, a paternity, father, we also do parity with six weeks as well. So 6 weeks fully paid for fathers, and that also includes adoptions as well. And then, that's cool and all, but why not throw in some extras?
Yeah.
One of the things that is a big life shift is you now have to buy these things called diapers, and they're pretty expensive and inconvenient. And so we're delivering diapers for the first 12 months to parents of SalesLoft employees.
That is
that's
no
exciting.
joke.
Yeah, that's fun. And then a couple other things happen. You get this new baby in your life, and now you look around and the house isn't so clean. So 12 weeks we're bringing cleaning in to come clean your home. And a couple more things, it keeps going. It's harder to cook these days now. So 12 weeks we're bringing dinners in. And then the last thing is once they come back to work, we give a kind of a soft landing where you can do a 50-50 work from home and work from the office for a period of time as well to kind of get indoctrinated back into the business. So we're excited. We have amazing people that make this company who it is, and we're so honored to have been recognized as the #1 best place to work this year. And so I think we're gunning for next year too. With the policy like this.
Clearly.
But it's just these people, they've helped my dreams come true, right? I mean, this team, this organization, and SalesLofters, what more could you ever ask for? They made my dreams come true, right? So they deserve the best.
I'm so moved by this. Obviously, it touches me on a personal level, but just to think how a shift in policy like that can empower a team and employees to not only be their best self at work, but be their best self at home, and then that translates into just a better work-life balance. Thank you for doing that. Companies, if you're watching, take note, follow suit. It will only give you positive results. I want to talk about some things that you focus on when it comes to culture, right? Because yes, sales is great, and you talked about why sales is great. And if you have software as a service that is helping people and you make a profit, that's great too. But it's all about the culture and the values that are in place. So how do you foster that here?
Well, I want to tell a quick story about one of the best compliments I ever received here. And it was our Series B financing. It was the night before we announced it. And we were in the office, and it was the marketing team, and we were working on a blog post. And we were pretty transparent with our financing. So if you go back and search SalesLoft Series A financing, you'll see a story that you probably wouldn't see from, you might not have seen a story like this. And so the B, there was a lot of pressure because we had to tell that story in an open, transparent, authentic, and full way. And it was hard, and we were working hard, and sometimes the ideas were coming and they weren't, and I was kind of brainstorming with one of our staff members who lives and works in the West Coast San Francisco office. And so he was visiting here and helping with this project, and he hangs out with all these Silicon Valley startups and founders and Series A, Bs, and Cs, and financing this and millions of dollars a year. And he, at some point in time, he said, because I want to tell you, I talk to all these people, and I always tell them how much I love SalesLoft. I want to tell you why. And I go, okay, yeah, I'm all ears. He goes, well, I tell them that the reason I love SalesLoft is that the founders aren't in it for the money. And I had an immediate response to that. My immediate response was, why would you ever be in it for the money? That wouldn't be worth it.
Right.
Literally all this work and all this effort and all these things we do, it wouldn't be worth it if the end goal was just a bag of money,
Yeah.
And so, the purpose of this business isn't that. Now, that might happen and will happen, and I want to make my team members rich, I want that to happen also, and certainly give them a lifestyle that enables them to, prepare for their family and do awesome things and accomplish their goals. But, we're here to do something bigger than that. And this company is about bringing people in that, like we said, talents and skills and capabilities, but showing them a way to learn more, do more, become more, take things to the next level and serve someone else, right? And then transform this industry. I want my grandkids to see the industry of sales and the timeline of sales, and there's this big SalesLoft stamp right in the middle of it,
Boom.
And so I think that's the beginning of it, is that, whatever your purpose is, your purpose might be money, make it clear and make it compelling, but clear and compelling purpose for what we're here to do and why. And that's the very beginning of it all, and then it cascades into, okay, now how are we going to behave? And that's our values. And values are how people behave when I'm not here, right?
Yes.
When me and the leadership team are not here.
Right.
Values are when someone else, a peer comes to a peer and says, that's not the way things are done around here, right? That's values. It's not like a poster on the wall or whatever. And so, I think that's the big one, is you got to have, a guiding light, a North Star, a set of behaviors of how you'll act, and then it just becomes orchestration and rhythm. You start doing things like, annual planning, and here's our rallying cry for the year, and here's our core objectives, and here's our quarterly OKRs, and here's how we're going to cascade them through the organization. I mean, everyone in this company has a list of objectives and key results that they need to accomplish this quarter. Everyone, all the way down to the newest person in a different role, right? And I think that's been important. And then we just keep really open, transparent, and authentic with each other, and learn to work with each other in awesome ways.
Thank you for giving us some insight, lift the veil a little bit behind the SalesLoft culture. As somebody who has achieved great success thanks to an amazing team and circumstances, a lot of times people think, well, yeah, he's got it great. He's Kyle Porter. And, a lot of people think, well, if I can just get 10,000 or 100,000 or $1 million, then my life will be great. As somebody who is now in a really great place, can you speak to just what's important? Now that you are in a place of like, things are good, what's next for you? Where do you find fulfillment? What are you striving for?
Yeah, well, it is a little bit better to not be driving my 11-year-old Pontiac and eating the ramen noodles and not making income. I mean, it's nice to not be in that situation. Yeah. But I did go 16 months with no income at the beginning of the company, and I was investing in the company with money that I kind of had. It was like, but yeah, I think for me, what's important, I've got a daughter. She's about to turn 4. Oh she's my little champion hero. She's fearless. She's been on water skis now for over a year. And so I've been just investing in her and pouring into her. And she's got her frequent flyer miles. And
nice.
It's just a ton of fun. And my wife is, we've been kind of going back and forth between her hometown of Florida and here in Atlanta. She works a ton. And so I want to make sure that I provide an environment where she can fulfill her goals and dreams. I mean, she straight up, has enabled me to live my dream, right? And so it's really important to return that. And so that's important to me. And we've got a new son, or he's 11 months now, so he turns a year next month.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just, that's the most important things to me. But friends and family, and then following, working with mentors to always be improving. I think I've had those moments where I've said, if I just get to this, then I still have those moments.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always someone that I look up to and say, wow, look at the accomplishments, look at the impact, and fortunately those people happen to be on my board, so I get to see them all the time. We've got a board of just incredible people that serve great causes and have life experiences of wisdom, and I just want to do all that I can with what I have.
I think that's an important fact to impart, is just no matter where you are, you're there for a reason, and be content in that space, and know that people, even at Bill Gates level, it's like they're always striving for more. Nobody's ever fully like, I'm good, I'm good. Well, maybe Bill Gates, I don't know. I always ask anybody who's in the hot seat what they need, how can we help, what can we do for you? Because you and I both know the power of the WWW, that like crazy things can happen when you drop it out there, right? So in the spirit of that, what can we do for you, Kyle? What can we do for SalesLoft? Maybe there's a nonprofit that you feel strongly about, just anything. Just throw it out there and let's see what the internet comes back with.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate it. And I mean, even this is going a long way to help get the message out. And we have 254 people today, and the majority of them are all in Atlanta. But I don't think it's going to be long until we have 500. Wow. And so we want the best people in this city who want to be challenged, who want to take things to the next level, who want to grow, but want to serve and give. And so we're looking for great people in pretty much every department of the company. And I think if you go to jobs.salesloft.com, just Google search jobs and SalesLoft, and it'll pop up. But that's a big one for us. And then, if anyone is in a sales leadership role, we really can serve those companies. And we really can transform companies from being traditional sales organizations to being modern sales organizations, and enable your people to deliver a better experience to the customer. And so that's what it's all about. For me, I think, I have a favorite quote in sales, and it's that this profession that I love so dearly, it only requires 3 things: fundamental belief in yourself, fundamental belief in your company, and fundamental belief in your offering. And if you have those, then all sales is transferring that belief to someone else. And I can promise you, I've got fundamental belief that we can serve sales organizations to greatness, and I want to transfer that to as many people as I can.
Oh my gosh, I knew we'd have another mic drop moment. Total mic drop.
Thank you.
Kyle Porter, thank you so much for your time, for your insights, for what you're doing, and I'm just so excited to be a part of the journey. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the community that you're building and for filming this and sharing it with the world, and we really appreciate it.
Awesome. SalesLoft.com.
Thanks.